So recently Wuthering Waves has had a really good roll of really good updates that have been coming to the game, and honestly it's been pretty good. Now obviously what a lot of people are kind of looking at is the fact of some competitor games that are coming out, as a lot of games are starting to be released, announced and everything like that, and people are wondering, am I going to continue playing Wuthering Waves? Am I going to continue playing any of these other gacha games in turn for one of these new ones that are coming out? Because let's be real, a lot of gacha games do come in generations. Now it's far from Wuthering Waves' time. They're never going to reach the kind of state that Genshin Impact is, at least for a couple of years time. So I think that's something to be totally fine about. But pretty much there's this new game that released just the other day, or I say released, it had a release trailer, and essentially it was called Silver Palace. Now this looks absolutely amazing. Obviously I watched the trailer and I watched some of the gameplay over on a react video if you guys want to go watch that. But essentially it does have a very similar style in terms of kind of details and in terms of how the character models are to Wuthering Waves. Now a lot of people were pretty surprised by this because I think what the company kind of running the advertisement for this game was saying was that this was going to be the Genshin Impact killer. This is what Tectone was saying whenever he was given the brief to cover this video, was that they were marketing it very heavily as the Genshin Impact killer. Now obviously a lot of people were very mad about that due to the fact of people don't like comparisons in the community, and I do understand. But whenever a game is literally telling you that this is going to be a Genshin Impact killer or a whatever game killer, then I feel like it's safe to at least call it that until you see what happens, or at least kind of speculate, is this going to be the Genshin killer, if this is something that they are saying themselves. This is something that the company wants people to advertise, so you should kind of advertise that fact. And what if they don't do that? Well, they're going to look stupid, and if they do that, then obviously they're going to look absolutely great. But I think a lot of people were also kind of looking at this game and going, I don't think this is just the Genshin Impact killer, I think this is the Wuthering Waves killer as well. And I feel like that just isn't the case. But I really wanted to go through it in this video because I saw this post come up on Wuthering Waves Unfiltered, pretty much saying Wuwa Ender is releasing, guys. So according to this smartass, the new game Silver Palace is going to be the Wuwa Ender. They should be worried about their own games, which might go into obscurity with being outdated and many other issues they have. Other than extreme cultists, people still play it due to the sunk cost fallacy, no other reason to hold on, which definitely is true. I feel like if there is a game that is going to fall off, kind of, I guess, someone's roster, I think it would be Genshin Impact. I think it would be one of these older gacha games which haven't been out for as long and don't have the kind of graphics capabilities of Silver Palace or even of Wuthering Waves. And that's, what I wanted to try and get at here, because this commenter says, us Genshin players laughing like crazy because now Wuwa's market is going to get taken away by Silver Palace, because Wuwa and Silver Palace both targeted the same market, which was AAA high details look market. Basically Wuwa, which has so little interactability with the world, cannot win against this. Meanwhile, Genshin wasn't even targeting this market. It will stay out and will work as always. I hope Silver Palace works out and ultimately makes Wuwa lose revenue. And then people in the reply saying people really want Wuwa to EOS. It wasn't on their bingo card. That's it. It's going to remain successful, more and better than gacha games come out. It's going to become increasingly clear that Genshin will become the equivalent of the living in the Stone Age, which definitely is true, because I think this person is missing out the fact that, people can play multiple games. I think that, a lot of people are saying that, oh, this is going to be the killer of this and that, due to the fact that they think that one person only plays one game. Honestly, I mean, let's be real. If you are a pretty casual player of Wuthering Waves or literally most gacha games, you're not going to be playing this game 24/7. There is usually a period of time where you've got nothing really to do, and well, this is the perfect time to have another game in there, for example like Silver Palace. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to do, is they're going to run it as their second gacha game that is just something that fills in the gaps whenever there's a little bit of a down period. For example, right now for Wuthering Waves, I feel like there's a little bit of a down period. There's not really much to do apart from some of the events if you haven't done them already, but apart from that, there isn't much to do and there isn't much hype around the game, which it's fine because that just kind of happens with gacha games. There's always down periods. There's always periods where there isn't much to do, or there isn't much exciting things to do, at least. So you just go ahead and you focus all your attention on another game. For example, me, I've been focusing a lot on Nikkei, because Nikkei has been pretty exciting with a lot of the new quality of life stuff they've been bringing. so I've been playing that a little bit more. So I think that, you know, people can just go ahead and switch between gacha games every now and again, and Silver Palace could be a really good one that could actually, you know, help out a lot of Wuthering Waves players, because it does have that similar kind of style in terms of detail, in terms of design. Now Silver Palace, I feel like, does have even better graphics than, you know, Wuthering Waves does. That's just due to the Unreal Engine 5 stuff, which honestly I think that's great, and obviously it's going to push a lot of the boundaries whenever it comes to gacha game kind of details and how far a gacha game can actually go in terms of graphics and just in terms of the overall quality. Because, you know, over the past couple of years we've had a lot of gacha games which, you know, have really good character designs or whatever, but whenever it comes to the gameplay, it's like just a bunch of like chibi models just fighting. You know, for example, like Azure Lane, you know, it's like really detailed models, really great. They kind of blow up on Twitter every single time, but as soon as you get into the game, you start playing the actual game itself, it's literally just a ton of like little things flying about, and the gameplay, you know, some people do like that gameplay, some people don't, but it's nothing like, you know, Silver Palace, where it's detailed, running around, open world type stuff, which again would just be really nice to see more of, because you're gonna have more high quality gacha games, and it's gonna kind of increase the overall, I guess, quality of gacha games in general, and just the standard that, you know, these companies are trying to make them at. Now, also, there was something that I think a lot of people also missed out with Silver Palace, is the fact that, you know, we don't know what some of the other systems are like in the game. For example, you know, obviously people are saying the graphics are really good, the characters look really good, which definitely is true, and also the combat looks really good. But for example, you know, it doesn't just mean that this game is going to be absolutely perfect just because of that. Now, there is a very high chance, because, you know, it does look great, and I'm very hopeful that it does. But for example, they could have one of these worst gacha systems on planet Earth, which could, you know, potentially kill the game. Now, I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying it 100% has that, but again, there are so many factors that people still don't know about, that people are already kind of like jumping on the train of Silver Palace is going to take over every gacha game ever. You know, we've seen what's happened with previous games, for example, Infinity Nikki, which, you know, looks really great too, and had a really cool concept, but then they decided to screw over all of their players. Same with Black Beacon as well, they did the same thing. It was a new game, people were hyped, and then all of a sudden they screwed over their players. There are situations where things like that can happen, where a release looks like it's, you know, propped up to be a really good release, and then it turns out to be something a little bit predatory and something not so great, which, you know, it's something that obviously people are gonna have to monitor as the game gets more advertised and we find out more about it. But it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that and how people respond to that, because it is a very important factor when playing a gacha game. If the gacha game system is terrible, then it will put off a lot of players. You know, it might even put off me, you know, because I don't care, you know, even if the game is like absolutely insane, if there's some really predatory stuff going on behind the gacha system, it might just throw me off the game completely. And I think that's, you know, the opinion of a lot of people as well. And there's also many other factors, not just the gacha system, which could also be bad. For example, maybe like endgame, something like that, if that even exists, or just in overall content to do in the game. Because, you know, we've seen a lot of exploring and combat, but what exactly is there to do to kind of keep those players playing in the long term? But hey, we have to wait and see. That is something for a future question. But I just think that people getting too, you know, excited about the fact of this being a wuwa killer, I think they're wrong. I think this is just a Genshin killer, in my opinion. I think this is just kind of pushed Genshin at the bottom of the list in terms of gacha games. You know, I feel like Genshin was right there at the bottom. Obviously, you know, it was one of the first ones, so it's always going to be remembered, always going to be popular. But in terms of quality and in terms of like a lot of stuff coming to the game, I think Genshin Impact was already at the bottom, and it might get pushed out for a lot of people with the addition of this game and also other games too. For example, Ananta, you know, Neverness to Everness. There's so many other games, as you're familiar. There's literally a ton of new gacha games coming out, which people could also choose from. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the overall opinion of this is. Again, I just wanted to kind of talk about it because I did see that post and it was a little bit weird. But hey, you know, I'm very excited for Silver Palace. I'm very excited to see what Wuthering Waves can also bring, because again, Silver Palace is going to bring out even more competition for Wuthering Waves 2. So, you know, maybe it's going to push Wuthering Waves to do even more. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go over to GameStop, use my code CASA, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, they got a free shipping event on as well. So check it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys at the next one. That's all. See ya.